Morning, everyone. We are the Inorganic Ventures capstone team working with Dr. Brian Alexander to assess the viability of implementing a machine learning software into their everyday workflows. First, we'll start with some introductions, starting with myself. My name is Jamie Bailey. I got my bachelor's degree from Virginia Tech in public relations with a minor in business and organizational leadership. After the program, I plan on moving to Phoenix, Arizona, where I will be the assistant softball coach at Grand Canyon University.
Hi everyone, my name is Scott Bratz. I studied environmental data science at Virginia Tech, and after this program concludes, I'll be joining the Hazen and Sawyer team as a senior business analyst.
Hey everybody, I'm Axel Gomez and also study here during my undergraduate time, studying business information technology and focusing on supply chain. After graduation, I'll be moving out to Baltimore to do finance for Clark Construction.
Morning, everyone. My name is Alexander Tellis, and I graduated last year with a bachelor's in business information technology. And after the program ends, I'll be moving up to Reston, Virginia to be an associate business analyst at Applied Information Sciences.
Feel free to stop us throughout the presentation to ask any questions you may have. We'd now like to express our gratitude to Brian and Dr. Ona Sharef for their essential contributions and guidance throughout the entirety of our project. I'll now be handing over to Axel, where he will tell us a little bit more about Inorganic Ventures.
Thank you, Jamie. So a bit about Inorganic Ventures. They started in 1985, originally in New Jersey, and later relocated to Christiansburg, Virginia. A bit about what they specialize in is providing certified reference materials, and it essentially revolves around inorganic chemistry. The industries they serve cater towards environmental testing. So you can imagine pharmaceuticals, mining, water, anything related to anything around inorganic chemistry. And the reputation that they've garnered over the past decades is for providing high quality materials as well as very impressive technical expertise in their fields. I'll like to pass it on now to Scott for the project introduction.
Thank you, Axel. To ensure a successful project, the first step was to understand the Inorganic Ventures business model. So this came with an on-site tour of the facility to understand the ins and outs of the business. Next, we started to explore the data set that Brian gave us. After, we started to learn about the machine learning software that we use throughout the project. And lastly, we assessed the capabilities of the software through quantitative as well as qualitative benefits. I'll be passing off to Alex for our problem statement.
Thank you, Scott. When looking at the problem statement, we want to see how using machine learning could make the lives of chemists much easier with the time it takes to do their work. By utilizing the machine learning software for model prediction, it would reduce the time significantly for the chemists to actually finish their work. Also, the utilization of the software would put Inorganic Ventures ahead of its competitors in terms of efficiency and innovation. Now, at this point, it's important to get a good understanding of machine learning before actually moving on. First, machine learning is a subfield of artificial intelligence, and it's probably defined as a machine's capability to imitate intelligent human behavior, in this case, the software trying to imitate the chemist's behavior. And there are three main functions to any machine learning system: descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive. Descriptive functions use data to explain what happened. Predictive functions use data to explain what will happen. And prescriptive functions suggest what actions to take based on the data. And all three of these functions are core to what makes the software what it is. And with that, I'll pass it off to Jamie, who will talk about our team objectives.
Thank you, Alex. Our team set several objectives to obtain the essential information for developing our project. The first being assessing the machine learning software's viability and learning how to actually use the software. We dedicated our time to learning its features and capabilities, which allowed us to be more proficient and confident in its use later on. Next, we wanted to make sure that the data Brian had provided us with was clean and formatted appropriately beforehand. Once those first two objectives were met, we spent each week creating different models, reporting those models back to the IV and machine learning software teams, receiving feedback and documenting that entire process each week. After many weeks of this process, we took what we had learned and provided a framework to Inorganic Ventures to help them and lead them to build their final model. And finally, to wrap up the progress we've made over the past 9 months, we wanted to explore the benefits of implementing this software into their daily operations. And this allowed us to reflect on our own work and assess where there's more work to be done. Moving on to the methods we used for the process of our analysis, we began with using Python code to randomly sample our data, as well as Excel to build and store our data sets, and of course, the machine learning software to feed those data sets into to get some predictions. We also had the opportunity to speak with Ms. Amanda Miller and Dr. Leslie Owens from Inorganic Ventures to get a little bit more information about their company, which allowed us to perform our last analysis, which was our time savings analysis, which just answers the question of how much time is actually being saved by the software. Moving on to the stages of analysis, we began with our first stage, which was our exploration stage. The second was our testing stage. The third was our developmental stage, and finally, the fourth was our evaluation stage. And I'll be handing it over to Scott, so he will go into a little bit more about our benefits of implementing the software.
Thank you, Jamie. Over the next 2 slides, I'll take you through our economic analysis that we completed during our project. If you take a look at the screen, you can see a time save equation represented by 3 different parameters. And we had help from Brian to actually develop these 3 parameters. The first being the average decision time of a chemist. Now there's a wide range that the chemist can make decisions in, so we thought that the average would be best suited for this. The second parameter was the machine learning decision time. And then lastly, the last parameter is the number of requests per month. And although we cannot share you the exact time that it was saved, we do want to say that there is a significant amount of time that implementing the machine learning software into workflows will do for Inorganic Ventures. The second part is the value created from the time savings aspect. So if you take a look at the screen again, you can see our new value created equation. And this basically takes the time saved per year. So that would be the value that you saw on the last slide. And you multiply this by the value of time per minute. And again, we can't disclose the information. However, it is a positive value, and that will be significant for Inorganic Ventures. Now we'll be moving on to some of the qualitative benefits that implementing this machine learning software will have on Inorganic Ventures. The first being increases in employee satisfaction. Now that the chemists will not be doing such monotonous or repetitive tasks, they'll have the ability to create value in other ways for the company. Second is an increase in decision-making. The machine learning software is not meant to displace chemists. It's more meant to help them and make decisions faster. And then lastly, there is room for innovation. Right now, we are only looking at implementing it into the chemist side. However, the software is dynamic and it has the ability to be implemented into other workflows in Inorganic Ventures to make everyone's life easier, not just the lives of the chemists. Now I'll be passing it over to Axel for some of our final recommendations.
Thank you, Scott. So we confidently recommend to Inorganic Ventures that they should be implementing this machine learning software into their daily workflows for the following benefits. First, we've mentioned how this will benefit the chemist on a day-to-day basis, but if you begin to realize anyone directly or indirectly associated with these chemists will begin to see improvements in their own workflows, since there would be a reduction in repetitive tasks and more time to engage with the customers, which will lead to more sales at the end. Next benefit being that Inorganic Ventures is in a unique position to actually leverage machine learning. And I say this because machine learning needs a lot of good quality data to make good quality decisions. And from Inorganic Ventures' decades worth of experience in this field, as well as the good quality that they've gone from raw data in the past to more advanced analytics like Power BI and now shifting to machine learning, we believe that they are in a good position to be early adopters in the space and in the industry to reap the benefits. The final benefit that we've seen is that really goes in the last 2, which we believe that they'll see an enhancement in their competitive advantage because of the reduction in tasks I was mentioning, more time to gain more value for the organization, as well as being able to see what the benefits will lead to when you use machine learning and using your data to work for you. But now I'd like to wrap up with some final comments. Over the last 9 months, we've had the privilege of working alongside Inorganic Ventures, the MSBA leadership team, as well as the machine learning team that we were using to really hone in on this capstone project and seeing what the viability of a machine learning software would be in an organization like Inorganic Ventures. We appreciate everyone's time for helping us and for everyone's time today for hearing us out about what we learned. And we'd like to open the floor for questions now. Got one, please?
Do I have one? Yeah. So, not knowing this company and not knowing, the project, so to say, what jumps out at me is time saving seems like a very natural economic benefit, let's call it. Was that true from the very beginning? Or did you discover that time savings was something that they were interested in?
Yeah, so I would say like our initial thoughts when we were going into it, we're assuming like it was some kind of profitability, like how much value they'll gain out of it. But we've seen that We mentioned that we would just be in the chemist, like a one specific department, but Inorganic Ventures is beyond just chemists. There's multiple departments, but since we were just focusing on this one part, it made the most sense to just look at what the time savings aspect would be. So then that would be easier to look at other departments later on, and also being able to look at the profitability side of it as well.
And it's relatively easy to get a dollar value in time savings,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. Okay, good, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, great job, thank you. I just want to get your assessment. How well do you think the software can perform when you actually decrease the amount of data that you feed it? Can it give, you know, basically appropriate business results, even if you decrease the amount of information that you're using?
I can take this one. I think the beauty of the software that we chose and that we worked with you about was that the actual software is excellent at making decisions on really small pieces of data or noisy data or even sporadic data. So I think that there won't be any issues with creating a model, say in the future, with less data. And I do think that even a model that has less data will still provide significant benefits.
Going on with the data viewpoint, what concrete recommendations do you have to improve formatting and the integrity of a data set?
I can take this one. So it's kind of touching on something that Brian really helped us out with. And what I had to say is in the beginning, a lot of the data that we had, specifically the variables, might have been categorical. So you can think of like text boxes or anything like this, not necessarily concrete numbers. And we saw that once we started talking to the company that Inorganic works with to format their data sets, we began to shift a lot of the variables over to continuous, and this kept bumping up the data quality significantly each time. So I believe if you continue like that trend of turning things into continuous data, you'll begin to see a lot of improvements in the data quality within the software. Thank you.
Large one.